people have to have a feel for the mission and something that really connects them emotionally to the giving that they do. And that was a huge moment for me to realize that balance has to always be there. And it's really helped us as we've shaped and had great success here in Atlanta with everything we do is first focused on sharing the impact and the story of how animals are helped and how people are helped. And, I don't really remember a time in the last 20 years where I really sat down across the table from someone and said, I need you to give me $1,000. I need you to give me $50,000. I've learned it's all about just sharing the story. And then when people are moved by that story, when they're moved by the work, then they're forthcoming and they say, well, I'd like to support that. I want to be part of that. I love what you're doing. And so for me, that was a huge lesson that has served us well over a lot of years.
Yeah, and so it involves patience because naturally you need the resources to keep things running. But we're going to get there through telling these stories and connecting people to the good work. And so a little patience, a little faith along the way. Okay, so now I want to go back to a specific time. All right, so then the pandemic hits, okay, and everyone's kind of sheltering in place. And at some point, there was this general consciousness of two things. One, we should buy a bigger house or buy a house with more space or something. That was one thing that happened to everybody, right? We're going to renovate offices and build a pool and whatever. And then, hey, wouldn't it be nice to have a pet or two around during all this? So talk to us a little about how the pandemic shaped and impacted the work that you and your team were doing at that time and how you managed some of those changes.
Yeah, I think everyone has now a COVID story, don't we? It's that modern, like we were saying, earlier this morning, everyone had a story around, if you live in Atlanta, around Snowmageddon. This shared experience of COVID has certainly been one for all of us. And I think from a Humane Society perspective, from our leadership team, our experience started out just like everyone else. Okay, we've got to mitigate the concerns about exposure and spreading this virus. So we're going to really significantly close our doors temporarily, refocus, figure out how to run the organization in a new environment with new parameters. And I think that was a great opportunity for us to rethink everything that we did. Why did we do it? How did we do it? How did we connect with the community? And we were not closed for very long. It was a very brief period of time where we closed down our public facilities. And the demand was just surging from people who contacted us and said, I want to be a foster. I'd love to get an animal. I'm home. We're at home. We're working on our laptops. Wouldn't it be great to have a cat climbing all over our desks? And we could take a foster. Our foster program just exploded. Literally went from a couple hundred to almost 2,000 people in Metro Atlanta who stepped up and said, hey, we'll take a foster animal. So that enabled us to be able to get animals out into homes. We like to say the sofa is the best place where a dog can recover from whatever and being in a happy home, as opposed to being in a shelter, which isn't bad. We have one of the best shelters in the country, I think, in terms of a place for animals to be, but nothing beats your sofa, right? So
my dog Walter would agree. 100%. I'm sure somewhere in my house right now, he's enjoying one of the many sofas.
That's what they do.
Like a sofa buffet for him. He's like, which one am I going to pick right now? I'll pick that one today. Yeah. Start there. After lunch, I'll change it up to
Mosey, because the sun or the dynamics in the room will have changed.
That's exactly right.
He's got to get the right zen